everyone. Welcome to the second section of data cleaning. In this section, we're going to practice about data transformation. So in data transformation, how to transform the data, how to deal with the duplication, those kind of things covered in this section. First, let's speak about how to deal with the duplications, how to deal with the repetition of the data. When there is a duplicates available in the data set, how to deal with that. So duplicate rows may be found in data frame for many number of reasons. It can be the real data, or that could be the what to say mistake. Okay, whatever it is. But duplicate rows or columns may be there. The data frame method called duplicator. There is a method called duplicator which we can use that will return Boolean value, whether the duplication is there or not, that will be returned as a Boolean value. So we're going to use that duplicated method to see the presence of duplication in the data set. Okay. And also we are going to see a method called drop duplicates. That method will return a data frame where a duplicated array is there. Okay, so then it will drop that so that it will just return the unique value. Maybe first create a data to practice this. How to deal with duplication. To practice it, first let's create a data. Okay. Okay, we have created a data. Let's see how it looks like. I just use dictionary to create this data frame. And let's use that duplicated method. I told you duplicated method will give you in values depending on the presence of duplication. Okay, data dot tab duplicated. Okay, so when you apply it will tell you where there is duplication. You can see until this there is no duplication. Okay, but when you look at the sixth row, both columns has 2. Here 2 is there, but this column has 3. But in the last row, both K1 and K2 column has the same value, so that will be considered as duplicate. Okay, now let's use the drop duplicates method to remove the duplication. The drop duplicate method is there. I'm using it. When I run it, you can see the last row has been removed, that has been grabbed. So you can specify any subset of them to detect the duplicate. Suppose we had an additional column of values and wanted to filter the duplicate only based on one particular column. Here we considered both K1 and K2. Okay. If you don't want to consider the other column, if you want to find out the duplication on only one column, based on only one column, that also we can specify. Maybe in this data frame, let me add a new column. Okay, how can you add a new column? Just specify it within the index, and I'm going to use the range function to create this. And let's see how this data frame looks like. You can see it has 4 columns without excluding the index. Now it has 3 columns. Now we are going to consider only one column to find out the duplication. Let's say that we are just concerning about K1. How can we do that? Drop duplicates, and I have to pass which column that I have concern about. K1. Again, 1, 2. So it just consider all of the, since we are considering only one column, since 1 and 2 is already taken, it just rejects all the remaining columns, rows, because it has the same column value. So let's do the same thing for K2. Now you can see In K2, 1 is taken, this 2 is taken, and 3 is taken, and 4 is taken. All the other the things has been rejected because it is considered as duplication. So both duplicated and drop duplicates by default keep the first observed value combination. Okay, but if you want to remove that, that means here when it rejects the second duplication, it kept the first row. The fifth row has been kept here, right? It just removes the second occurrence. But in case if you want to remove the last occurrence, but want to take out the first occurrence, that you can do by using the parameter called keep parameter. Okay, you have to use the keep parameter to do this. Data dot drop duplicates, and here we are going to consider two columns. Instead of here we have used K1 and K2. So instead of specifying one and one separately, let's say K1 and K2. Okay, so you want to do the observance only on two columns, rejecting the third column, so only for K1 and K2. Okay, and then here we can use the parameter called keep, where you can specify whether you want to remove the first occurrence or last occurrence. When you say last, then it will keep the last occurrence, removing the first occurrence. You can see here, now this doesn't remove the last one. Instead, it removes this. And look at this, it has this 4, 6, but it removed the fifth row. It doesn't have the fifth row because it removed that, because you have specified keep last. By default, keep value will be first. First occurrence will be kept. But if you say last, then last occurrence will be kept. Okay, so that is about duplicated method and drop duplicates method. Okay, so next what we are going to see how to perform the transformation using mapping. That means how to check the row connection between the columns based on the row value, how to check the connection and how to do the mapping. For example, if you're adding a new column in a data frame and you're going to add it based on the row. Okay, each row has some indexes or something. Using that as a mapping, we are adding each row in that new column. Maybe I'll explain it with some example. I'm going to create a new data frame. This is, so I got from the book. So which one, the data frame is about the food, okay, and the ounces size. I have added it by using the dictionary, this dictionary value. I have added a data frame. Now I'm going to add a new column, but that new column is like, this is food, and the new column is going to speak about the animal from which this meat is coming from. Okay, so we are going to add that as a new column. That also I'm going to add using dictionary. Okay, bacon, food, pork, bacon. Okay, so here I'm just doing the mapping. It has 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 types of meat. Okay, so each that is the unique values are 6. Okay, there will be repetition in rows, but 6 unique values are that. And this column, this variable holds the dictionary that says about what meat is coming from which animal. Okay, bacon from pig, food pork from pig. Okay, so that speaks about meat from each animal. And then you can look at that. So sometimes, if you look at this, there is something here. If you look at this has the uppercase and this has the lowercase, and this has the lowercase and this has the uppercase. Okay, so when this is the case, when the row has something not like normalized in terms of this capitalization, and we can understand it is the same thing, but the computer will not, the code will not be able to understand. So we have to first normalize these values, then only we can do the mapping. So you have to either make everything or capitalized, or have to bring it like uppercase or lowercase or keep it capitalized. First, let's do that. Let's change everything to lowercase. So that we can do the mapping. So I'm just creating a variable where the data column, which column? Food column, right? Food. Let's make everything lowercase. Okay, let's see what is that in the lowercase variable. Okay, now everything got converted to same case. Now we can do the mapping. How can we do the mapping? We are going to add a new column, right? The column name is name. And we are going to do the connection of this new column according to the row value. Not it is just, we are just adding this column. We are adding this column according to this combination. Okay, according to this combination, we are going to add this. How can we do that? First, take that, this one lowercase variable. Okay, and then use, there is a method called map. You can see map method is that. Use it. So you have to combine it with this variable, meat to animal. So we're using that map method to do this. Okay, now you can see we have added that new column simply by mapping these values. Okay, so next we're going to see about replacing values. Okay, next we're going to speak about how to change the values, replace the values. Okay, so what are the methods available that will help us to replace the values? It could be not a number value or sentinel value or threshold value we want to replace it with some general template values. How to do that? First, let's create a data frame, series for this. And let's see what is that in the series. The series looks like this with some minus value. And in case if you want to deal with this minus values, if instead of having this minus 999, if you want to replace it with not a number, then you can easily do that by using replace. Replace this 99 with not a number. Okay, I don't have the numpy. Let me put numpy. Okay, so it will replace wherever you have the minus 199, that will replace it with not a number. In case if you want to replace it with multiple values at once, okay, if you are for both minus 100 and minus 99 and 1000, if you want to replace it with not a number, then you can use it like minus 99 and minus 1000. Both should be replaced with not a number. So that is easy. Okay, so in case if you want to use different replacement for different value, that also possible. For example, if you want to replace all minus 99 with not a number and minus 1000 with 0 means, you can do that by passing it as a 2 index values. So when you do this, you can see mapping will be done automatically. So minus 199 will be replaced with not a number and minus 1000 will be replaced with 0. Okay. You can do the same thing by using dictionary. You can just keep it as a dictionary thing as well. Like you can do that as a dictionary value passing instead of passing it like a 2 different lists. You can do that by specifying minus 99 key value that should have not a number, comma, and the second key value minus 1000 That should be replaced with 0. That also will do the same thing. Okay. So either you can do this or that is about replacing. So you have to use the replace method. I suggest you to use this replace and then shift tab. You use shift tab method and then shift tab. I'll tell you later, but that is a way that you can bring the documentation. Okay, so for example, if you want to get the documentation for replace method, then just place it and then here use shift plus tab. Okay, that will give you the documentation of replace method. So what are the parameters that you can use? All those things can be retrieved. You can find the documentation of that replace method here. So you feel free to use this shift plus tab for each method to know more about each methods. What are the possible parameter attributes that you can use? All those things. Just verify the doc. I strongly suggest you to use shift plus tab and to understand each methods that we are using. The next one, renaming access. Okay, now let's speak about renaming. How to rename the access. First, let's create a new data frame for this. Just creating a new data frame. And let's see what is that in the data frame. Okay, so here I'm going to use a transform function. Everything to uppercase. So it's just a function that changes to uppercase. You can look at, I hope you can understand this code that the transform function is going to get all those values and going to change it to uppercase. Okay, now you can see over here and then that to first 4 index value until 4. Okay, so over here all 4 and then until color and then until new. Only 4 characters have been converted to uppercase. Okay, so this transform function does it. Now what we are going to do, we are going to put it as a new column here. Rename this column with this new transformed uppercase thing. Okay, so how to do that? For that we have to use, sorry, let's do the same thing for, let's rename this column 1, 2, 3, 4 into uppercase. Okay, data dot rename. Okay, so the index attribute string title. The column string upper. You can see that converted this each column to uppercase. It converted each column to uppercase. So this is just to bring partial, like how to change each row title index as by using the transform function. By using map, you can just transform this. You have transformed this, and then by using rename function, we have changed the column name. There are multiple ways that we can do it. For example, let's use dictionary to perform renaming. Okay, how can you use dictionary? Here you can simply have just updated, use the same thing, just updated to uppercase. But if you want to change the value itself, how can you do that? For example, for Ohio, instead of Ohio, we want to do Indiana. How can we do that? Ohio. Okay, key value, and the dictionary value is going to be the change. And then columns. Let's change column. 3 is going to be changed to some other thing. Sorry. 3. We're going to change it to hello. You can see. Well, here should be uppercase. So the OEM here has been changed to Indiana and the 3 has been changed to hello. So this is how you can replace or rename the column or row index values. Okay. So next we're going to speak about decretization and binning. So next we are going to speak about decretization, binning, detecting outliers, okay, and then permutation, random sampling. These things we will discuss in third section. Thank you.